And overnight, a federal judge rules in favor of the Trump administration, allowing a government buyout offer to federal workers to proceed. In that plan, employees could get 8 months of pay and benefits if they left their jobs. So what does this mean for workers in the federal government right now? So let's bring in legal affairs correspondent AFGE Burnett. AFGE, what happens now to employees? So if they haven't already taken that buyout?
Hey, good morning to you, Holly. This means the people who have not signed up for that buyout, they're likely not able to continue to do so. Last night, as you mentioned, the Trump administration got a major win after a federal judge removed a blockage on the buyout program that was in place. So this was a major win for the Trump administration. This judge, he is in Boston. His name is George O'Toole. And initially, he had a block on this buyout program while he assessed both sides of this argument. But ultimately, he decided that the unions here, they did not have the authority, the right to sue, something that is known as standing. And this was a very brief order that the judge issued last night. You see a portion of it there on your screen. And in this order, he wrote, the unions do not have the required direct stake in the fork directive, but are challenging a policy that affects others, specifically executive branch employees. This is not sufficient. So simply put, the judge is saying the unions that sued here on behalf of tens of thousands of people, they don't have a direct stake here in order to bring forward this lawsuit. He did not rule on the legality of the buyout program. He just said this lawsuit does not stand right now because the unions don't have the authority to really challenge this in court. But remember, everyone, the backstory here is very early on in this very young administration. The Trump administration offered buyouts to tens of thousands of federal workers, federal employees. And the Trump administration said they were doing this in order to shrink government, in order to be more efficient with government spending. But they also mentioned the fact that people would be able to work, to not work really all the way until the end of September, but still get paid. But immediately those unions sued. They had concerns that their members would not be able to get those funds. They had concerns that this was not a legit offer. And we also heard from attorneys general around the country in different states that urge people not to take this offer. But ultimately, this is a major win for the Trump administration. They are now able, Holly, to move forward with this buyout offer as of this moment.
AFGE, it sounds like the judge is almost leaving the door open for somebody directly affected to perhaps bring a lawsuit. Do you find that might be the case? That's why the statement was so brief?
There is a possibility that that is the case, and we have heard from one of the unions here that they're saying there's a possibility that they will be assessing how things will be moving forward. But let's give you an idea of how the White House is reacting. They're really taking a victory lap here. The White House press secretary, her name is Caroline Leavitt, she mentioned that lawfare will not ultimately prevail over the will of 77 million Americans who supported President Donald Trump. But on the flip side of that, you see a statement here on your screen. This is from one of the unions that sued, and they said they are extremely disappointed, and they continue to assess how they could possibly move forward. And they wrote, we continue to maintain it is illegal to force American citizens who have dedicated their careers to public service to make a decision in a few short days without adequate information about whether to uproot their families and leave their careers for what amounts to an unfunded IOU from Elon Musk. And the reference there is one of the concerns that these unions have is there is no allocation of funding from Congress to pay these people who have already accepted a buyout. According to the Office of Personnel Management, about 75,000 people so far have already accepted this buyout. But there's a possibility, as you referenced, Holly, that there could be additional lawsuits or potentially an appeal of that decision in the future.
Seems like this conversation is not over. AFGE Burnett, our legal affairs correspondent, thank you for clarifying all of that.